Hello, 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 hello. Let's see here. Test, 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 test. Okay.
We're good
Hey,
there.
there we go. Gary, you're in. Can you hear
I
me?
am in, man.
I love it.
So side by side, look at here. Let me
Look at
fix a
that.
few things. Hold on. Looks like I'm looking. Everybody's looking at my nose, so hang tight. Cool. We're
Awesome, brother.
here.
Awesome.
Right. So anyway, let me fix my lights. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes, yes.
All
I
right.
hear
So I'm
you
gonna
loud
get
and clear.
So I got just to let you know I've got Zach. He's on the computer over there. He's sharing it to my page, and that way other people see it. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. So we might as well
Cool.
just jump in. We might as well just jump in now.
Man, we have the same haircut. Mine's wider than yours though.
You seen it, man. You see the Yeah,
I've got that.
I'm getting the cul-de-sac though right here.
Oh no. Not the
I've
cul-de-sac.
been I've been in the dungeon, man, making new stuff, new products, and I haven't slept all night already, man. So
My.
I've got the cul-de-sac coming. I don't even think I brushed my teeth yet.
I was going to mention what's in your teeth there, but yeah. So yeah, I'm ready to get started. I'm excited, Sue. Excited. I don't know about
Awesome.
the expert. I seen the expert thing in there. I don't know about the expert, but I do have experience, so we use that ex word, experience. So yeah,
Well,
but
you're
I
just
appreciate
being
you
humble,
calling me.
brother. You're being humble, brother. I'm gonna go ahead and just give a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and hype you up on my own then, since you won't hype
All
yourself
right.
up. But
Well,
Jerry Martin, man, I'll tell you what, he is a retention pro, and he's been in the fitness industry for well over 20 years. He's owned 20 clubs in the past what 10? Is it past 10 years or past 15 years?
past 10 years, that's crazy. I'm gonna turn this lighting down for Tad. So yeah, past 10
Past
years.
10 years, helped, multiple gym owners, helped thousands of people with his ripple effect. And really, what's really important and powerful, especially in for us as fitness pros, is retention, right? Without retention, we go nowhere. And there's a lot of questions that I have, and I can speak forever, but, having conversations that I have on a consistent basis, a weekly basis with Jerry, giving me his time have just been awesome, expanding, 15, 30 minutes. I come out of it like, wow, that's just tremendous, amazing insights and amazing hacks, simplicity, right? Because it's all about simplicity, you know. I think, we want to
Keep it
make
simple.
things
Good.
as beings at some time. We want to make things too, what's the word for it? Like too complicated, right? And instead of making
I
it
just,
complicated, right? You want to bring that simplicity, and that's what he's been able to do with multiple gym owners. Like I said, been in the industry for well over 10 years, has 20 clubs, and so retention. That's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about that. I would love to do it on a weekly, bi-weekly basis with Jerry, because there's no way we can get it all done in one conversation, right? And
yeah.
we're going to talk about some ways of that we can hit retention today. And so, Jerry, let's go ahead and expand on this topic, right? So the first
All
question,
right.
like retention.
Well, I want to hit on something before you ask the question is simplicity. I love that you said that. We get caught up in this world of trying to handle these masses of people with automated emails, automated responders, and people they figured that crap out. And that's why we're losing members. We're forgetting the human touch. We're forgetting the power of leveraging people, how to grow our team. And so getting back to the basics to where we should be is will resolve some of these retention issues that we're having. But go ahead with your question. I just want to throw that out there.
So, you know, just to like expand on this topic of retention, right? Like talking about, I would like to talk about retention as far as it goes with, keeping our trainers, right? Keeping them involved, keeping
Right.
our coaches involved inside of our organization, inside of our gym, inside of our mission. How do we do that?
Well, the biggest thing is what most people do, gym owners and club owners. The first thing they think of retention is how can I service my clients better, and they forget they actually they jumped a few steps. And the first step, one, and I love the interview what you did with Simon, is actually investing into yourself as a leader. You can't lead people if you don't have the knowledge to do it. And so making sure you're plugged in. I should have got my airplane mode on, but hope I don't get any phone calls. So making sure you're part of a show like this or going to conferences and reading books, because you're the leader and they're going to learn from you. And if you're not plugged in, then who's leading them? And then the second important step is growing your team. And you can't have a good retention program unless you have a good team behind you. We as owners in this industry, it's broken because I'm reading my notes here. So this is where the industry has failed, because we treat our employees like Walmart employees, and we think we have a good training. We think we have everything in place, but what we forget is that we're not dealing with employees. We're dealing with life givers. And when you look at your employees as they are actually life givers, in which we are, we're in a unique position as club owners and personal trainers that nobody else in this world is in, besides doctors, is we have the ability to breathe life into people. And so you can't treat your employees like they're Walmart employees, and you've got to treat them differently. You've got to realize that, hey, this is a life giver, and I want to invest more time in my employees. And if you can do that, invest more time in your employees and growing your team, then that's the first step in making sure that retention is solid. It's kind of like the analogy, you can't build a house on sand, right? You want to build it on rock. And so, like you said, going through a weekly through this, because there's so many layers of retention, it's not a one-shot fix. If it was, then nobody would have a problem. But it starts with investing in your team, and then there's how to leverage your team, then there's how to leverage clients, which most people miss out on. There is how to get involved in the community. Community is a real big part of it. That's community outside your club. So make sure you build a community inside your club, but also outside your club too. So there's a lot of layers that I definitely want to dive into. But today we're going to talk about employees because it's the most important part. Let's see what else. We try to do this ourselves. And if you think about most gyms are like yours, you have the owner, the admin, and we're all trying to, and I use this analogy, we're trying to hold them in our hands, in our arms, going, okay, I got them. I'm checking on this person, checking on this person. And our trainers are running around just teaching sessions, and they don't really give a rat's crap what's going on, because you know why? Because you're paying them to teach a session. That's what you're paying them for. You've created that mindset. And so no wonder they're not helping you out. And most of them, you may agree, and some people may disagree, but most of our trainers are hitting the clock when, hey, I'm not getting paid anymore. I'll mingle with some of these people, but I got to go. And so really invest in your team, making sure they're fully involved. And we'll go through some things today that'll help you do that. And I actually will post in some documents. I think I sent them to you, Anthony, if you want to post them in here. A lot of what I've learned, I get from Tony Robbins. And what I love about Tony Robbins, he works with a mind, how to get people to do what they should do. I mean, how to get people to do what they normally wouldn't do. And it's through the 6 basic needs. And so we'll start with those first, because I think it's important. But anybody wants to jump on and ask any questions, we can answer them as we go along. Let me switch this over. So the reason I really value the 6 basic needs, it is inside our My Fit Members program. The employee structure is inside My Fit Members program. How to leverage your team is inside My Fit Members program. It's just everything we've learned from retention I've put into our software, and the hopes that it would come beside the owner and help them keep their team accountable, first of all, and then hold your clients accountable. You can't hold your clients accountable unless you find a way to hold your team accountable. But we'll start with 6 basic needs. Have you ever heard of 6 basic needs besides from me there, Anthony? I forgot your name for a second.
I've heard of a couple. I'm pretty sure that conscious or unconsciously I've been using some of them, but not using them on purpose, right? So I'm really excited to hear those needs, because at the end of the day we could tap into do that on purpose, how that just totally shifts everything.
Yeah, so when I'm gonna go through them, and just know that, and you can jump on YouTube. You're part of the MyFit Members family. We actually have this video inside the app by Tony Robbins. But jump on YouTube, search Tony Robbins 6 basic needs. It's going to drill in deeper. These are 6 needs that every human being has got to have. And so I'm going to go over them, and I'm going to show you ways that you can actually instill these inside your trainers, and then later talk about how we use these to help inspire inside of our clients. The first one's certainty. We all need to be certain of something, right? And so inside your club, inside your trainers, you want to make sure they have certainty, which means you're going to be there when they need you. You'll be there when it's supposed to be. You're going to be open, that there's no constant change on scheduling. They know what they should be doing at all times. So that's certainty. And that's an easy one to hit. I'm going to get to the 2 that's really, really beautiful in a second. But the next one is uncertainty. And that's variety. We all need variety of life. Variety is the spice of life, right? And as I go through these, just know these are 6 needs. You use them in your marriage, you use them with your employees, you use them with your clients. And if you can meet 3 out of these 6 basic needs of any human being, you pretty much got them. So they're very, very important. And if you get some time, spend some time studying these and how you can actually drive these into the people that you're leading. But uncertainty, that's variety. So changing it up, make sure it's fun. It's not the same boring job all the time. You're all the time creating different things. Maybe it's music in the sessions. Maybe it's you're taking employees out for trips and stuff like that. So making sure there's variety. You don't want to get them stagnant. And these are easy ones. Significance is a big one. We all need to feel significant. We all need to feel that in some sort of way. What you can do inside of your employees is of course, when they're doing something they should be that they're doing right, is to reward them for that. Make sure that they're rewarded for it. Make sure they feel significant. And that's another way when you start bringing up leaders in your club, that you start putting them in charge. That's significance. Now, some of them take it too far, but that's another topic we can talk about. Love and connection. Dude, all I can say there is, if you're not loving your clients, if you're not loving your team, then you're losing them. God designed us to love each other, and everything. Most of the time, we're afraid to do it, or we don't know how to love. But making sure your team knows you care about them, making sure your clients knows you care about them, and through hugging, through just words of affirmation, just anything like that. Let me find another one. That's 4. Now these next 2. Everybody gets the first basic needs met some way, somehow. No matter how they do it, it's either a good way or a bad way, right? The next 2 are the only 2 basic needs that provide joy, happiness, fulfillment, and they are, unfortunately, most people don't get these 2 met. But the cool thing is you have the opportunity to actually meet these with your team. The first one's growth. And so growth means, getting stuff out of your head that into their head, growing them as a person, growing them as an individual. A lot of owners are scared of this because they're scared to grow their team, because that person may leave and take some of their clients. There's ways we can get around that, but if you do that right, then that's not going to happen. You build loyalty, and they don't do that. Plus, non-solicit, non-competes help out too. But you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to grow your team, because if you're afraid, if you live in scarcity, then you're never gonna grow your team, and you're never gonna learn how to leverage your people. So growing.
And by the way, you know how to grow. And by the way, you know how to grow teams. I mean, 20 clubs, right? So you know how to grow teams.
Well, I've had my struggles, and this is what I've learned. Some of the stuff I've learned within this last couple of years, because I've have some good team players, but some of them built resentment. And I was going, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? And when it starts hitting hard, you start really thinking it's like, it's not them. First, you want to point and go, hey, it's them. They don't appreciate crap. But then you, as a good leader should, you should look at yourself and go, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And a lot of this I wasn't doing. And so, which has built some resentment. And so a lot of this is some stuff that I've kind of stepped back and go, you know what, I'm going to start walking differently, treating myself differently, treating them differently, and really focus on their basic needs. And I'm not perfect all the time, but my heart's in the right place. And I definitely want to move forward on this. And so the next one is contribution. Contribution is huge. Dude, I can say, Anthony, if you see a lady that needs help, maybe groceries be carried over, or even helping somebody lose weight in your gym, how good does that make you feel?
It makes me feel amazing, literally. Like even after too, like, the moments after, it puts me into a mindset of thinking of like, wow, joy, peace, you know what I mean? Which makes me even more creative going into the next thing that I'm going to do. Right? And more open to the possibilities. Yeah, it's amazing.
God designed us to contribute and be givers, and a lot of us don't do that, and that's where we get our fulfillment from. That's where we get our joy. And so when you have your team of employees and they're doing nothing but teaching sessions and they're not really involved in changing people's life, what I mean involved is like on the ground floor, then they lose that. When you give that back to them as a gift, then money's not an object anymore. They're loving their job. It's like, oh my God, I was able to help Susie get off 2 of her blood pressure medications. This is amazing. And you reward them for that. And it just builds that fire back up. The same fire that started when you decided to get in the fitness business or when I did, it's like, that's what drove us to do it, right? The problem is if we don't foster that in our employees, so they lose sight of that, and then it comes about pay. How much are you going to pay me? And so there's much more than a job than pay, and going through that. So that's the 6 basic needs. But I was going to go a little bit deeper, and this is coming. Some of this is going to come right out of that Tony Robbins stuff that I'm going to put in a group here. But you got any questions up until now? Turn this heater off. Any questions?
Yeah, for me, like what are 3 common myths when it comes to, what are 3 common myths? I would say, like, what are the common myths when it comes to, feeding into your team, your employees? Like, what are the common myths? Because I don't think that I don't know. Maybe there is a lot of gym owners that are doing all the things that you're saying, as far as, creating certainty and, creating relationships and, creating contribution when it comes to their employees. I was at a mastermind just a little bit ago. This was like in the summertime, and the amazing information that I got out of that, right? And just kind of like masterminding with other gym owners and hearing just tremendous, golden nuggets and points of implementation that I could put into my business, right? And some of the stuff, that I was hearing, right? Because what I used to always think is incentivizing our owners with money, right? Incentivizing them, like, think of it from the entrepreneurial mindset. Like, each time you make a sale, you're going to get 10% or you're going to get 5%, or each time you do this, we even had residual for our coaches where they would keep, if they could keep a client on, they would get residual pay for it, right? Like, how do you, that's a monster trying to tell that process back, right? And figure out,
right.
But I'll tell you what, it was like, none of them really wanted that. And what was so funny is that, a lot of the gym owners that I was speaking to too, like, they were saying the same thing, that their people didn't want that. They didn't want the incentives of money. Like, right? They wanted to be taken out for dinner, or they wanted to be, maybe taken out on a trip, right? To like Las Vegas as a team, or to some, city as a team to go, have some fun, right? And let their hair down. Like, they didn't want that, So what are like some common myths that you came across when it comes to, keeping your employees engaged and keeping them engaged in the mission, keeping them engaged in what you're doing as far as bringing them on the mission? right?
The first one you hit on is money. Everybody thinks right off the bat, I need to pay them more money. The problem is with that is they're always going to want more money. It doesn't matter, if you lead with money, you've created this spoiled brat that always wants more money. You try that with your kids. Start giving an allowance, they're going to ask for a raise on allowance. But there's other ways to feed people that doesn't cost money, and everybody wants to be lifted up. Everybody wants to be felt significant, and everybody wants to be part of something, to contribute. And if we raise our kids, just think about it. If you raise your kids and you don't, all you do is maybe you give them an allowance, right? You give them money, but you don't allow them to contribute to the family. You don't foster any of their ideas. You don't grow them as a person by having them read some other books and grow them as a person. What you end up with is a spoiled damn brat. And so, and that's what that happens with your trainers too. So when you're focused on money driven, there's a balance though. Everybody needs money. And I do believe in rewarding people for helping you keep trainer clients on. But there's that balancing act where you can fill some of that void without money. And like you said, taking them out to eat, making them feel appreciated. That phone call. Gosh, the first thing I got away from is texting. Move to some type of voice text. Voxer is a great option. That way, when you're talking to your team, they can hear that you care. You can't hear that you care in a text. I can say, hey, buddy, you did an awesome job today. I was very impressed. I love what you're doing for me, in a voice message instead of saying that in a text, because it doesn't mean the same. So taking some of the technology as far as the old school texting out and really interjecting just words of affirmation money is the biggest myth. I don't know if any other ones. Why'd you ask such a hard question? Don't ask. We talked about that before the show. You can't ask questions like that. But money is the biggest myth. So, that we need to pay them more, and that's not really the key. Been down that road. I think you've been there too. So, yeah. First thing is really the number one key thing you can do with your employees is foster an open communication. And what I love about that, what I mean about that means you're fostering an environment that is okay to have constructive criticism toward you as an owner, or even to your teammates. So when you're having your meetings, and you should, if you're not having a meeting once a week with your team, then you're never going to move forward with this. You got to stay plugged in with your team. You've got to hold them accountable, and it's going to take weekly meetings to do this. And these are purposeful meetings, not waste of time meetings, because nobody loves a meeting that wastes a bunch of time. And so there are books out there that talks about how to construct good meetings. So some of those books, I'm sorry, they just left me about which ones there were, but you definitely look them up. But allowing your employees the ability to go, hey, your trainer's talking back and forth with one another. Hey, Susie, I noticed yesterday, your class the energy wasn't there. Is there anything going on? Is there anything I can help with? And so that's going to bring her up and go, okay, yeah, you're right. Or even, allowing your employees to come to you and say, hey, Jerry, dude, I feel like you've been tapped out. I haven't heard any encouraging words from you in a while, blah, blah, blah. And they're not going to get in trouble for that, but it actually holds us accountable, because unfortunately we don't have many people that holds us accountable. So it's good to have your team to hold you accountable as a leader and foster that. So that's the number one thing you can do is foster a good open communication. Reward self-improvement. Oh gosh, this is a big one. That is getting, like I said earlier, getting stuff out of your mind and getting it into your your employees' heads. You're the only person in your life that can teach them, that can show them the way. And reading books together on a monthly basis is a perfect way to do that, because you're going to get into some books that is actually going to expand their knowledge and hopefully foster some great ideas, and maybe you'll start getting better ideas out of your team. But you got to be the leader on that. The biggest kickback we get about this is owners say, well, I feel like I should pay them if they're doing that off the clock. No, absolutely not. And if your hiring process starts out and you say, look, we'd love you to have part of this team, but before you get hired here, I want you to know what we're about. We're about growing you as a person. And if I can grow you as a person, whether you stay with me or not, that's the best gift I can give you, a gift I can give you. And so what we do here is we read books every single month, and we sit around, we talk about them during our meetings, and we hold each other accountable to it. Because my goal is as a leader to inspire and lift you up, and then reward them for doing that. Okay. What encouraging safe failure? Encouraging safe failure would mean allowing them to come up with their own ideas, like you and me. I think I'm the idea machine, and I wished every one of my ideas worked, but they don't. But the cool thing is that when I fail at them, I learn from that. So you got to teach your staff that it's okay to fail and let them to fail. Encourage a safe failure, and so they can learn from that and move on. So, the words go, there's some things I don't let them do. If they come to this idea, so I've already tried that. Maybe they go, well, did you try it this way? And I'll go, okay, well, hey, give it a shot. It's not hurting anything. Give it a shot. We'll see what happens. And who knows, it could be the best idea around. But if you got to give them the opportunity to do that if you want to grow them as a person. We'd already talked about plenty of content. That means making sure that you're providing anything you go out and learn, you need to bring back. You need to educate. You need to teach them what you're learning. They should be a part of everything you learn to grow them as a person and an individual, to help you grow your team. So, leveraging your team, having them think like you, create mini me's of you is the best way you can do that. And that way it'll help you from losing the hair like me and Anthony did. Because if I'd learned that a long time ago, I wouldn't have been running around like crazy trying to hold everything together. But really the key is leveraging your team, and we'll get into leveraging your clients in future videos. So
you went over some really. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Oh, next one, that's fine.
Yeah, you've been going over some tremendous meat, man. It's filling me up. Tell me this though, with the MyFit app, right? Like, how do you use that as leverage? How do we use that as leverage to be able to get our team to buy, right? To get them to buy in. I love that, right? Because kind of because with the trainers, right? We're talking about like a lot of them are on the clock and off the clock, right? We can run into trainers like that, right? And they're on the clock, off the clock, and then I'm out of here. But the MyFit app is really leveraging them, of course, on top of everything else that you're stating, right? Like letting them know, like, hey, we care about you. Letting them know that there's open communication. Letting them know that we have weekly meetings that mean something, right? These are planned. These are prioritized. These are all set towards building you inside of these basic needs, right? And so now you've got an employee now that's pretty much turned into a family member. That now they know, like, and love you, and they're out there telling everyone about you, right?
Right.
And then on top of it, they're creating, the mini me's inside of there, which are not the employees, but I'm sorry, the clients, which love them, but they love, the employee loves you so much that now they became a family member, and they're talking about your organization everywhere. Like, they'll bleed for it. I've had certain employees that have been that way, which is so awesome, right? And we would love to have like 20 of them or 40 of them or 60 of them or 1,000 of them, right, inside of our organization. But what I love about the app, though, MyFit app, is how it keeps it. It's another point of accountability for the trainer. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I didn't get to accountability yet, but yeah, accountability is huge. And when we started designing the app, first we started, I didn't realize this when I was doing it, but it really hits on a lot of the basic needs: growth, contribution, accountability, and certainty. Well, I say accountability, but that certainty, connection. So it hits all of those. But what's unique about it is, one, it provides growth not only your team but for your clients. So it educates your clients so they can make better choices. But it also allows your team to contribute and be part of changing lives. And so the way it works is they get assigned members. So you assign your clients and they get assigned members. Let's say you have a 100-member club. We'll keep it low so I don't have to do a lot of math in my head. So a 100-member club, and let's say you have 4 employees. Well, what happens is you put your employees in. They don't have to be trainers. They can be your admin. We have some clubs actually have clients doing this. We call them pay it forward coaches, which we'll get into in a later session. But what their job is really to hold the clients accountable, communicating with them, and so you have 4 employees, and so the way it works is you divide your clients up. So each employee gets 25 clients. Now, they're responsible for every aspect of that client, making sure they come in for weekly weigh-ins, which is, all this is done inside the app, by the way. Weekly weigh-ins, making sure they're going through their lessons, making sure they're doing their monthly strength assessments, they're uploading their food pictures for their journaling, because we believe in journaling and holding people accountable with their food. There's exercise videos in there that they have to go through, making sure they're messaging back and forth to their clients, and just really being a personal trainer. Like I said, we've robbed our personal trainers from being a personal trainer, so we're really going to take them back and teach them how to be a personal trainer. And so they're taking care, and I call it my babies. They're taking care of my babies. And so if you're taking care of my babies, then I want to report each week about how my babies are doing. And so what happens is, once a week we have meetings and we talk about our clients. And so I'll say, hey, Trainer John, let's go through your list. Let's talk about your clients. And he's going to group them together, so it's not that long. But and by the end of the meeting, though, we know exactly where our clients are every single week. I don't have to pull a report. I don't have to do anything unless I want to check behind them. But they're reporting back to me how their people are doing. And what it's done for us, it takes and raises the bar on your trainers, because now they've got to produce. Because they come to a meeting and they don't have an answer, guess what? They're gonna have mud on their, pound their face or whatever. So it's really raised the bar, and it really helps with contribution too, because now we get them same reports of how one of their clients was able to get off some blood pressure medicine, and they were able to help them do that, not the team. They were able. So it has a unique aspect of doing that. That way it really streamlines your business and keeps your team accountable, and they're holding their clients accountable. So it's a 2-layered system. What are you doing, Anthony?
That's so good. That's so good.
You there?
Man. Yeah.
So,
it's kind of like going in and out, but I definitely got the gist, you know what I mean, of what it is and how it works. Now, going along with what you were going with before I came in on that, right? Because I wanted to stop in on that point, because I thought it was very, very powerful, like how the app works, and how it keeps the team accountable throughout that whole entire process. But going on with what you were speaking about before, right. Can you give a little bit more insight on that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, I'll post a post about the app. That way you can kind of see how it works, and so I'll put some in there in the feed probably this afternoon. That way you'll get a view of how everything works. And but yeah, the next thing I was going to talk about was accountability, which is huge. Making sure you hold your team accountable, making sure they're holding their clients accountable. We all need to be held accountable by somebody. And what I love about my FIT members is it bridges the gap between technology and human accountability. There's no program out there, MyFitPal or any other program, that's going to hold your clients accountable. As soon as they realize nobody's watching, they're going to stray. They're going to stop posting. They're going to stop doing what they're doing. So it allows that human accountability, that human touch, to come in and say, hey, Susie, I noticed you didn't get through your lessons. Really, for you to lose your 50 pounds, I need to educate you first. I need to make sure you understand nutrition so you can make better choices. So accountability is huge. What else?
Mm-hmm.
We went over a lot of these already. Support their independence. Oh, this is huge. A lot of owners are scared, like I said, of Judas taking their clients, or they don't want to pour into them too much. But it's our job to raise people up, and if they want, so this is what we tell them. So look, if any time that you want to open up your own club, come talk to me. I want to help you do it. I want to be part of that. I want to help you succeed. Because if you don't have that language in place, and they're that type of person that's going to open their own club, they're going to go do it anyway. And it's better to do it with you or without you. So there's a better breakup process. There's a way you can teach them integrity. Hey, I want to help you grow your business. I'm going to teach you all the secrets. I'll come over and help you get kickstarted in your club, but just don't steal my darn members, okay? So, because it'll happen to them one day if they do it to you. So making sure that you let them know you're there for them. If you build the right community, then they know that. And so I don't think we've had a Judas in our group that's taken off and started their own club. Because in most of our clubs, honestly, the clubs and how we got to 20 clubs is most of our clubs are trainers that we've turned into club owners. And so we've invested into them, helped open the club, coached, mentored them, and they're running their own clubs now. So, that's another way you can look at it. Everybody wants to be a multi-club owner. Well, there's a way you can be a multi-club owner without having the stress of being a multi-club owner, and that's just by inspiring your team to grow. And as they grow up, you help them do their own club, and maybe you're a percentage owner, and you're helping them do that. So, and that's how we've got the 20 clubs. Is basically we invested the money, we have percentages, and over time they end up buying out the majority of the club. So, but it's helped me live a stress-free life without having to worry about all the employees coming in. Who's not going to come in at 5 o'clock in the morning? Oh God, I got to go work because somebody's not there. I don't get those calls. That's their job. So that's making sure we do. But that's that's all I had as far as the rest of stuff we already went over. Sometimes I get long-winded with some of these, and I answer 2 or 3 of them before I'm supposed to. But that's the key is really and to your members. And when we talk next week, we'll start getting into how to form accountability groups. Then we'll talk about what we do with Pay It Forward coaches. Basically, we take members and turn them into Pay It Forward coaches, and we teach them the unique gift of contribution, which really gets them to be part of our community and inspire the growth. Creating a mission. A lot of club owners don't do is really getting into community, creating how to get into schools, how to get into community, how to create businesses where you're all working synergistically together. If you want to build, then you have to get in your community. And once you're known as a leader in your community, then retention is easy. But nobody tackles that because they don't know how to do it. So there's some unique ways of doing that. And I've always said this, and I've got this from our church. If for some reason your gym's gone tomorrow, you should have made such an impact you would be missed. If you're not missed by community, you did something wrong. Does that make sense? So our church always says it's like we should make such an impact in our community. If for some reason we're gone, we should be missed. If we're not, then we didn't do the right things. Same way with your club. You should make such an impact, be part of your community. Now, some of these clubs that are in these big cities, that's a little harder to do. But when it gets into smaller towns, you can really make a good impact and really start giving to your community in another way, in a better way that will impact you, impact your club and help you with retention.
Woo! I'm excited, man. I'm excited with this first run that we did right here on the just on the team, right? On our coaches, on our employees. I mean, we could go on forever. We can go on for 5 or 6 shows just on this, right? Just off the meat that we got off this. But I'm excited about getting into next week with the community. And by the way, we'll be doing this on a weekly and or bi-weekly basis where we'll just be speaking about retention and just different types of hacks or different types of ways that you can use this inside of your gym. And if it works, it works, right? And if it doesn't happen to work, at least it's more information that you have for yourself. But I'll tell you what, creating the 6 basic needs, right? The 6 basic needs from your employees all the way through into your clients with structure and with systems, it works, right? It works. And it's because it's the needs that we all have as human beings. We're not robots. We're all built to be able to, communicate it amongst each other. We're all built to really love on each other, to give each other, and really not to be alone, to be a community, right? And so that's the reason why our clients have came to our gym. So they're not in these big box places where it's mechanical, right? And people don't really care about them. There's no levels of accountability, and if they need to go for accountability, they got to pay $500 to $1,000 a month, right? where they can come with you at a lower base price. I mean, you can always up level, and we can talk about that all the time, right? But you get them at a lower base price inside your EFT, and you're creating that community. You're creating that consistency. You're creating that accountability, and it's all structured and it's all systematized, right? And for you, you might already have a lot of these structures and a lot of systems, but the question I got to ask is, are you using them? Are you constituting them on a continual basis? Or have we gotten so much into what we've done, right? And we've gotten so much, and we've really forgotten, like Jerry, you brought that up. Like, I think a lot of us as gym owners, we forget why we really came into this, right? Because we really came into this in the beginning, right? Most of us really came into it because we were a coach ourselves, right? And we saw the impact that we made on someone. They lost the weight, and they lost it. And then we thought that was all that it took inside of the business, right? But then when we started going to different types of summits and we started learning more, and then we had the emails, and then you had the funnels, and then you had the pricing, and then you had, the offer, and then you had to do the sales, and then all these fires we start to put out, right? We start to forget why we came, and you better believe your clients see that. Your clients understand that, and they know if you're really invested inside of what you're doing, whether you're a multi-club gym owner, right? Or you're just a single, you're just doing it with one location, right? Because they're going to see it through your people, right? And I think it's just, you hit on some powerful stuff here. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I mean, this is from the one conversation. Yeah.
Oh, you're taking notes.
Today.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's huge, but it's really a key. And that's why I'm so excited to have your time, on a bi-weekly basis.
Yeah. That's something that what I went over today is something that we never experienced as owners, because most of the time we come from personal trainers, or we come from a work environment that didn't have such a good boss, that didn't use these things. And so we only do what we're taught. And so now we're doing the same thing to our employees that was done to us. And then we're wondering why do these people not sticking around? Why is my business not growing? And really getting back to the foundation of it. And like I said, building your business on rock instead of sand is the key to it. One person sticks out in my mind, Matt Wilberg. He owns 6 or 7 Fit Body Bootcamp locations. And dude, he pours in his team so much. When you see their workouts, it's like being on a Disney cruise, watching a performance. They're top notch, and he will not accept anything less. Everything we went over today, he fosters. They're allowed to have open communications. He assigns them clients. They help build these teams. Each one of his clubs have anywhere from 400 to 800 members, and just killing it. But his program is top notch because the employees are top notch. If they don't work out, he gets rid of them and finds another one. And so sometimes we get desperate, but the problem is our training program is how to train these people, how to uplift them, how to get them to start thinking right. And that takes time. We spend too much time on getting members in the door than we do on building our team and on retention. And so if you think about it, if you spend more time on building your team and retention, you don't have to have many people flowing through the doors. We spend a lot of time in that area. But those clubs who do it right,
I know you got
Chad Smith.
I
was going to throw one more thing out. Chad Smith spoke at our conference last year, a 96% retention rate. He spends less than $500 a month on Facebook ads, less. All his business are referrals, and it's because he's dialed it in so much. He spends so much time and invest into his clients that he doesn't need to advertise. They just come to him, and that's what you want. You want to make it to where that client's going, hey, somebody asks him, hey Judy, where do you work out at? I work out at Fit Body, or I work out, what's the name of your club again? I'm sorry, but I work out there.
Way
I'm going to tell you. Way of Life Bootcamp. But let me tell you what we do there. Yeah, the conversation go, let me tell you what we do there. It's not the workout, it's not the exercise, but let me tell you how I get to be part of helping change people's life, how we're helping the community, how we're such a family. And the exercise and weight loss just happens by default. Everybody has this misconception that losing weight is equals retention. Our body transformation equals retention. That doesn't equal retention. Community and building that up is a retention, and having your clients lose weight should be a byproduct of all that. But anyway, we can talk all day about that, so I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's so good. And in closing, that's why I'm so excited about next week, speaking about the community and you bringing up Matt Smith and Wilbur too as well. Matt Wilbur, I think you had said. But, with those two gentlemen, and, we got a lot of gym owners in here that have fostered that same type of feel. And they've done really, really great. But that retention of 96% and understanding the fact that, like, we're not so much, like, so dependent on, a 6-week challenge or a 21-day detox, or we're not so dependent on this and have this big turn and burn, right? Like, we're dependent on having systems, right, that we're going to talk about next week, like systems that you have like mapped out that creates this community type feel that's on purpose, though, right? It's on purpose, or you wouldn't have 20 clubs if this stuff wasn't on purpose and planned and prioritized, right? And that are able to get people, or get people to know, like, and love you and talk about you and become members for longer than 3 months, longer than 6 months, longer than 12. Right, like, and it's really a family relationship, right? Like, it's a family relationship, because I think sometimes as we get bigger and bigger, what we can do is sometimes forget that it's a family relationship. It's like, remember back in the day when it was family fitness, right? Yep. And then all of a sudden, then as you get bigger and bigger, the corporations get bigger and bigger. They lose that touch, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? Depending on the person that wants to have multiple, or already has multiple gyms, right? Like, you want to keep that family feel consistent. So I'm excited about what we're going to speak about next week, just systems that are going to be able to get your people to be like, to know, like, and love you and spread your name everywhere. And there's a guy by the name of Brian Tracy, which is a guru that I check out all the time. But he was saying that if your business isn't running off of full referrals after 90 days, there's a huge issue you have, right? Like, you got a huge issue. And I'm like, damn, like, you talk about business development right there. Golly.
Yep. And it's about it's where you spend your most time is where it comes down to. And if you can spend more of your time fostering your community, then your referrals will come in. And I'm gonna throw a mind shift out there too. You said for everybody to know about who you are and what your business is. We're gonna get into how to turn your club into a member-run club, and so now it's not about you at that point. It's their club. You want them to take ownership and go, hey, this is where I'm part of, and I contribute. And they don't even know who Jerry is, or they don't know who Anthony is sometimes, because you build such a team and a community feel that's their club. So, we've got member-run clubs that are just amazing. Aaron Hildreth is one of them. It just runs an amazing club that is member based. A new person can't walk in that gym without the clients surrounding that person and welcoming them in, showing them around. It's not his team, it's the clients that are actually doing that, holding that new person's hand. Still there? Sorry.
Yep.
All right, cool. But yeah, we'll definitely get into it possibly next week. What I'm going to do is post a link in here about my fit members, guys. 30-day trial. Try it out for free. The only problem we have when club owners try it out is to slow them down enough so they can learn it. And so they go through the onboarding process, and it's like, dude, if you just take the time out and learn this, your life will get so much easier. As a multi-club owner, I poured everything into this app to help streamline your business, grow your people, help with retention. And our problem is people don't slow down enough to actually learn how to use it. It's not that complicated. It's a real simple, really easy to use app. But it's so funny to watch these owners come in and say, hey, I want to do your 30-day trial, and we get on next week and they hadn't even started on the first video. There's only 12 videos for them to watch to learn, and they're less than 3 to 4 to 5 minutes a piece to learn how to use it, how to implement your team, how to leverage a team, blah, blah, blah. And they just don't take the time out. And then they're the same ones that are going to come back later going, I'm losing clients. Well, I'm trying to help you. You just got to take time out and spend your time in the right direction. So, if you jump on board, there's an onboarding process that you go through, learn how to use the app, how to adapt it in your club. how to generate more money for your club, because this app will do that too. You're able to now make money outside your four walls, and we'll get into that once you get inside the app.
Ooh.
But yeah, check it out. So you can add an extra $8,000 to $10,000 a month on outside sales, and I call it down sales. That's selling those people who say, I can't afford your program. I tried you on a Groupon. I've tried the low barrier offer, but I can't afford $150 a month, $197 a month. Well, guess what? Now we have something to sell you. We have accountability, we have exercise videos, we have everything wrapped up in one for $60, $79 a month. So definitely check it out, and give it a shot.
I love it. I love it. Jerry, thank you so much, and looking forward to having those links down on the bottom, for more information on, the app, and excited to have you on a weekly basis, and if a bi-weekly basis, to be talking about retention. Next week is going to be the community, how you get the community to not only know, like, and love you, but create that fire and that burn across your community where it's a member-run club. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? I love that. Member-run club. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Jerry, thank you so much, and you have a great day, brother.
Yeah, one more thing before we leave. I want to upload them files. They'll be in the file tab of this of the group. So make sure you go in the file tab and check them out. Everything we went over today about how to grow your team. Books to read, everything's there. So,
woo!
All right, man. Well, you guys have a blessed day. Thank you for having me on there. Thank you for calling me an expert. Thank you for uplifting me. You're awesome. I need you to tell me how good looking I am all the time too. That would help. But other than that, you're good. Anyway,
thank you, brother.
You guys take care. Yes, sir. Bye.
All right.